second to look up here at this fast food meal. This meal is from my local nutrition and wellness store, and it was bought nearly 2 years ago. Imagine, just think about like the fruits or even the loaf of bread that you leave at your house. What would that look like in 2 years? This meal doesn't even have mold on it. How is that even possible? Because in today's world, the fast food companies, they use a lot of secret ingredients that we don't know about or we don't even pay attention to. Being a young woman, I realized that as we get older, we need to pay attention to the things we put into our bodies. And with my own self-interest, I've researched a lot of these ingredients to see what they really were. The purpose of my speech today is to try to convince you all to avoid fast foods as much as possible. I want y'all to avoid fast foods because even though these places are very convenient, their foods lack nutrition and they're full of additives and chemicals. Now, I know that most of us eat fast foods because they're convenient, and Miss Ajima Jackson would agree. She says that the reason that fast food restaurants are so popular is because, for one, they're cheap, for two, they're fast most of the time, and they generally taste pretty good. But all good things have to come to an end. According to naturalnews.com, these foods are nutritionally dead. They contain no enzymes, which means that we have to use our own digestive enzymes to digest these foods. Studies have shown that the enzymes in our body helps our immune system. So that means that people who eat more fast foods, they're sick more than people who eat less of these foods. According to sheknows.com, the reason that these foods are so cheap, which makes them convenient, is because the food that they buy is of such low quality. And the reason that they add all these chemicals into these foods is to hide the low quality of their products. Have you ever heard of propane glycol? It is it's an additive added to food that helps retain moisture, and it's also found in antifreeze. And have you ever heard of titanium dioxide? It is one of the main ingredients in our sunscreen, and it's also a food coloring in our fast food foods. And I bet you've never heard of this one, tertiary butyl hydroquinone. It is a chemical found in mostly our chicken nuggets in fast foods. That is a chemical preservative, and it's also a form of butane. You wouldn't eat these chemicals by themselves, so why would you want to mix them in with your food? I mean, you really are what you eat. And I want you to remember all of this for yourself and even for your family. To wrap everything up, I would like to remind you all that the purpose of my speech today was to convince you to avoid eating fast foods as much as you can. I know to ask you to completely cut out these fast foods is unrealistic, but the least you can do for your family and your sake is to just know what are in these foods and the effects of them. As someone who wants to live a long and healthy life, I felt it important to share these facts with all of you. If any meal can last up to 2 years long without turning to dust, it can't be natural and good for our bodies. You can only imagine how harsh these chemicals are on your internal digestive systems and things in that nature, but also for your physical appearance. I can't do this.
Oh my God, you were doing so good.
Okay, that's it there. That was good.
Yeah, you just cut the end out. You're fine.
Huh?
She's still recording right now.